Hey there, welcome to the drawing stream. It's been a long time since we've done this live stream, it seems like, but maybe it's only been a week. I guess it only has been a week. Welcome to the channel today, and if you're just now joining, this is our 16th installment of this particular drawing that we've been working on. So we've had some other things that we needed to get done for some other drawing streams that we've been doing during the shelter in place, and so and it's funny to me. I look at this drawing and this board, and there's been so many different drawings on this board in the past, I don't know, few weeks. In between, when we're not showing this drawing, we're not working on this particular drawing, there's several other drawings that I'm working on. So sometimes it's kind of hard to keep track of what we're doing here. And I'm trying to keep some of the pencils separate and remember which ones I've used. Keeping them separate works a lot better than trying to remember which ones I've used. I'll tell you that right now. But if you're able to see the stream, looks like we're streaming all right, but I always like a verbal confirmation, a typed out confirmation, I guess, from somebody. So if you're over on Facebook or YouTube, let me know if you're able to hear me and see everything just fine. And we'll go ahead and get started here in just a moment. And I think what we'll do is we'll take a look again at the bow. Sometimes it's difficult to figure out. Oh, thanks, Peggy. Peggy is over there on Facebook. Appreciate you coming over here, Peggy. All right. Go ahead and blow this off. Sergi Man is over there on YouTube Live as well. Okay. So I think these are the colors primarily that I've been using. But before we go very far, what I really need to do is look at the hair. And this just becomes something that's unsettling for people, and for me as well. Because what happens is if you don't darken the values in the hair around an object like a ribbon or bow that's sitting on top, then it starts to look like it's just kind of floating in air, and it's not grounded. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that. And grab a couple of different pencils here to float in and out of that might work well. All right. Let me move this mic up just a little bit and get a little closer here. As always, I'm tasking you guys with letting me know if my head gets in the frame. I don't want that. Okay. Well, I really can't go on my reference here because I don't have the right printout of the one that I wanted. But it's fine. Really what we're doing is we're following the rules of light right now. And so everything... Hey, Linda, how are you? Linda is over there on YouTube, or on Facebook, rather, as well. So really what we'll do then is we will increase the dark values around the ribbon in order to allow it to create a shadow on the surface of where it's resting on the head. Otherwise, it just looks odd. Looks like something's just floating in space. So I don't know if you guys watching right now were, if you're interested or not in the Portrait Prep drawing course. That is being released today. So there's already, well, we had several hundred students sign up to become a part of that. But the enrollment is open right now, so there's still time to get in there before we close the doors on enrollment. It's totally free, so I'm excited about that. I love it when I can offer free resources like that. And it should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of interaction, and we'll be doing some private live streams as well, so I can't wait for that. Oops, I don't think I announced that yet, but cat's out of the bag. We're going to be doing that, so that'll be fun. The other thing is, I don't know how many of you were interested in submitting your artwork to the Colored Pencil Society of America's International Exhibition. That due date was extended, and it's over now, but it was last night. I would like to know. Tell me in the comments here if you submitted any artwork to that. That would be awesome to know. Hey, Ramona. Thanks, Ramona. Appreciate it. So Ramona is one of our alum members inside the Sharpened Artist Academy, and she signed up for the Portrait Prep drawing course. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Let me adjust this light. And let's see. There's this balance that I'm trying to get usually with the light not becoming a reflection, a glare rather, in the camera lens, and at the same time allowing me to be able to see better. Sometimes that doesn't work. It's a glare for me, but it's okay for the camera lens. Okay, that's better. Sometimes I need to switch my position. Be able to see a little bit better. Okay. All right, let me grab... I don't want to put my... I want to keep putting my hand over the face. So I'm going to put a little bit of this glassine. Yeah, that's always a good approach. Those are wise words there, really. Ramona's saying she repeats her lessons because each round makes me better, and she refines her skills, which is so true. You know, if you do it just one time, I mean, it helps, right? But really, repeating it just helps to put it inside you and make it become a part of you. So, very cool. All right. Push this mic back over. Okay, let me use this Luminance Pencil. So if we can go a little bit darker, right up by the edge, and remember we're going to have a little bit of dust, then where you can modify how dark that value is. We can lighten it up later. But at the beginning, we want it to be pretty dark right up there at the edge. I can make broader areas of value by creating these linear strokes, then I'm going to be better off, because everything does need to be darker, but it tapers away from that area and becomes lighter as it recedes. It comes away from that bow. There we go. And then, of course, we're going to come back in there with a few stronger highlights where there are hairs that are hitting the or bouncing back, some of the light reflection. Let me zoom in here just a little bit, make it a little bit easier to see. Even though we're at the top of the frame there, I think it might still be easier to see it this way. There we go. Okay, now the other thing I can do, I guess I was intending to go all the way down here, which is fine. So I'm getting tired of this and I want to stop, but I want to keep going, and I have to just tell myself, no, don't stop yet. You're almost done with this part, but I'm wanting to move on to the next portion. Okay. This is where it really tries your patience. So Linda's asking, on the color pencil challenge pieces, does the drawing have to be freehand? Well, no, I'm not going to, send a car out and have guys come break your arms or fingers if you don't freehand anything. And we'll talk more about that later, but I do want to, here's what I want to do. I want to challenge you to do something that you've not done before. And so if I'm going to get some soft tools out here so I can blend this together a little bit better. If the only thing you've done is traced your outline and then traced also details, and you're interested and curious about freehanding and learning how to see proportions better, then I want to encourage you to do that. If you don't have any interest in doing that, then that's fine, But I think most artists that are wanting to increase their skill level are, they're interested in getting to that point, because the enjoyment is just through the roof for most of us when you're able to develop your eye. I used to think that it couldn't be done. That was a long time ago. But I've since learned that, it can be done. And so I want to encourage you to push yourself. But we'll talk more about that later on, and we'll talk about what that means. Doesn't mean you're a failure if you can't do that right away. The thing that concerns me, I guess, is when I hear, even from other artists, when I hear this kind of statement, like, well, no one can do that. It's impossible, that kind of thing. Like, those are just not true statements. And so that's the thing that concerns me, is when someone starts believing that and starts thinking that, it's impossible to ever do. I guess it's just kind of sad to me, I guess, is what it is. I don't know. I don't know any other way to describe it, because it feels like it's, to me, someone is just resigning to learn, and they feel helpless, or hopeless rather, and they can't break through that barrier, that plateau. I don't like plateaus. Personally, you probably don't either. I don't like it when someone tells me I can't do something. Never have liked that. Probably why I've never been a real good fit for, corporate welfare is what I like to call it sometimes. Corporate jobs where you do as you're told, that kind of thing, and you don't think outside of what's allowed. You know what I mean? So, all right. So this is a little grainy up here. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I'm going to have to press just a little bit harder, and it will fill in that tooth, or it should. If it doesn't, we'll have to try some other tricks. I should be able to do that. It's funny. I say that. That's why that I'm not real well suited for traditional jobs. But although I had one for decades, so apparently I was suited for that. A little bit, at least. You do what you have to do, right? Okay. Now let's try this again. Press just a little bit harder. It's a little bit better. And then, we'll have multiple layers in that area, so it will, the more we build up in that area, the better it will look. And it won't look all grainy like that, so. Okay, let me switch over. Let's see here. I want to grab a Lightfast pencil. One of our Derwent Lightfast pencils. They have a really different feel on sanded paper than even Luminance pencils do, or Polychromos. They're their own animal, I tell you. Okay, that's so much better. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, look at how that just adheres to the paper. So much easier. The other thing, Linda, if you're still here, is by the time we get to that point where we're drawing a portrait challenge together, that's at the end, of our time together. By the time we get to that point, then there's some things you've already developed and learned ahead of time, ahead of that challenge. And so you might be surprised by what you're able to do by then. Okay? But anyway, don't let it fill you with any anxiety or fear or anything like that. It's nothing to worry about at all. And I'm going to be here for you. So I'm not going anywhere. And we'll get through it together. And we'll have a lot of fun, I think, doing it. It's going to be great. Okay. And Linda, so for those that may not know, I know Linda. We've known each other for quite some time now. And for you, Linda, I am going to push you to to really challenge yourself and to break outside of things that you've done in the past. So, yeah, absolutely, Linda. It's a lot of fun. Linda's another, I don't know what to call you guys. Alum. She's another alum student. Let's put it that way, I guess. And has been around for a few years, I guess. So, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. She's also very active on office hours, and so and I guess by way of reminder, if you're watching today, you're over here with us today, and you're a part of the Sharpened Artist Academy. If you're in the Beginner's Color Pencil course or in Face Value, then just remember that you have access to the office hours meetings that we do. You know, we interact over there every week in office hours, and it's a lot of fun. There's just I just feel like there's so much to learn by all of us discussing art together, and colored pencil in particular. But the topics are so varied. I think anyone who's over there can attest to that you just never know what we're going to be talking about. I mean, it's interesting. It goes off in all these organic different directions, and there's so many things that people have emailed me later and told me, wow, I'm so glad I'm a part of office hours because of certain things that we talked about even today, and that kind of thing. And I think the same thing. Like, yeah, I feel the same way. I wouldn't, often, I'm learning a lot of things just by being there myself and listening to what others have to say as well. So it's a lot of fun, and it's just a really great time to interact with other artists who are working in the same medium that you are and are interested and curious about the same things you are. Sometimes we are around people all day long that don't share those common interests. So it's a lot of fun to be able to be around people that do have the same interests. Okay, this thing's getting in my way. Don't really think anything is going anywhere, so it may not be even necessary for me to have this glassine over the painting right now, but it doesn't hurt either. If nothing else, even though you may wash your hands often, you still emit oils off of your hands onto your surface. And so you do want to protect the drawing, because you don't want the oils from your hands, even if you think you've doused them with alcohol and all this stuff. I wouldn't recommend that, by the way. But you still have oils from your hands that are rubbing off on your drawing. So I should do as I say, as I preach. I should actually use the glassine all the time, and often I forget to do that. Okay. Yeah, so if you are interested in signing up for the Portrait Prep drawing course, what you'll want to do is just go over to the Sharpened Artist Academy, and it's open right now for a little while, and you can just sign up right there inside the Academy rather than joining the wait list now. It won't be open for a whole lot longer, but now is the time to do that. And if you're unsure of the address, then your best option would be go to sharpenedartist.com, and then the top banner navigation, look for Online Academy. There we go. Oh, yeah, thanks, Ramona. Yeah. As usual, Ramona can say it better than and type it better than I can speak it. She says, I think the classes plus the communities and office hours teach you, then become continuing education, and then professional camaraderie and support. Yeah. I love this program. Yeah, very, very, very cool. Thanks, Ramona. Yeah, and there are, to be fair, I mean, there's a lot of great communities, and not all of them, I can't go over all of them right now, but there's a lot of great Facebook communities as well for colored pencil. So don't forget about those. And there's just a lot of great support out there now for colored pencil artists. So, and if you're already part of one, then that's great. I'm not trying to dissuade you or distract you and make you think that that my community over there on Monthly Sharpener is the best ever, and that yours isn't, because I'm sure it is. There's some great ones out there. But I guess the point is, take advantage of that, Be a part of a group. Be a part of a community. The podcast that just went out today that I did with Anna Warren, she, see, this is starting to look like straw right in there. I'm going to have to redo that a little bit. But she sort of... she talks about that just a little bit, and talks about towards the end of the interview that the support and community is a big part of learning, a big part of developing, and it really is. I can't imagine trying to do everything in isolation. I didn't do that, and I don't know anyone who did. It would be tough. It would be so hard to do. I suppose it could be done, but why do it when there's options now? Especially when they're free options. It's a good way to start out, and then if you want to take it to the next level, there's paid options also. Yeah, that is something I'll have to work at just a little bit there. I do want to go ahead and I feel like I say this every time I'm drawing on this one. There's just been so many things going on. There's so many programs and support things that I'm doing behind the scenes, as you probably can imagine or maybe already know. But I want to get this particular drawing completed, and there's some shows I'd like to enter it into, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I think we will probably work on it just a little bit more if I can find the time. then we'll do that. Okay. Oh, the loaded question there from Cheryl over on Facebook. Is the LuxArchival better than UArt? Depends on how you define better, right? In some ways, I would say it's better. In some ways. So Ramona's asking, this is what paper this is. This is LuxArchival paper that we're on. LuxArchival Sanded Paper. So, LuxArchival, let's talk about it for just a moment. LuxArchival Sanded Paper is 400 grit level, okay? UArt comes in a variety of grit levels. Now, do you need all those grit levels? I guess depends on who you ask. I don't use all those grit levels. In fact, if you go up past a 600, and past, what I mean is go down in number, which increases the grit level. It's more grainy. There's more tooth to fill in, right? If you start going in that direction, you're talking about like 400 or something, I can't use it. It doesn't do me any good. Now, maybe pastel artists would use it, but most of the pastel artists that I talk to, they don't want something that's like, 200 grit level. They don't want to waste all their pastels. And that's essentially what you're doing. You're filling in a lot of tooth. For what purpose? I don't know. So when you think about it like that, you've got a 400 grit level on the LuxArchival paper. That's enough. That's what you need. And I thought at the beginning, when I first started using it, that would be too much. I started thinking, okay, I'm loving the 800 grit level of the UArt paper. But I'm willing to admit that in my estimation for what I do, I was wrong about that. It actually works really, really well. And the other added benefit to using LuxArchival is you don't get these little grid lines. Let me show you this so we can talk about it. Let's see. Maybe I should zoom in because I'm not sure you'll be able to see this unless I do. So if you look very, very carefully, you can start to see little ridges. They're vertical ridges. And, that this is the zoom level on this is incredible right now. I mean, depending on how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it on a phone, then you probably can't see this, But you can see these little ridges, these little vertical ridges, if you zoom in very, very close. Now, granted, this is one layer, okay? Maybe two, something like that, maybe 3 or 4, but it's a soft application of layers, okay? I was doing this in a live stream to get it done quickly. When we're talking about, so my point is this. There's ways of getting around that problem, right? And it's unlike, it's not unlike using any paper where you're compensating you're doing something with your technique and you're making some compensation strides to be able to overcome some issue with the support that you're on. So if the surface is creating some kind of weird interaction with the pencils, then there are techniques to be able to overcome that, right? And so with the UArt paper, what I typically do is I work in a whole bunch of layers, and I will, perhaps spray it, go on top of it after I've sprayed it, things like that. With LuxArchival, you don't have to worry about that. You're not going to get those ridges in there. So I guess my point is there are some benefits to using LuxArchival when you think about those ridges. When you think about 800 grit level on a UArt paper, though, you can get done really quick. But if those ridges bother you, and if it's something that, just really upsets you, then, there are other options. LuxArchival doesn't have that problem. It's interesting because, this is stuff that matters to artists, right? If you talk to non-artists, I'm not sure how bothered they would be by that. So I'm just saying that's just something that, that we have to think about, that we're bothered by little tiny things. Your client and customers often are not bothered by the things that we're bothered by. So I'm just saying that's just the way things go. So Sergi Man is saying, I have seen that kind of texture in certain cotton papers as well, where you can actually distinguish a fixed pattern in the texture, such as Fabriano, Artistico, Hot Press, or Canson Heritage. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Fabriano Artistico is notorious for that. I mean, that's primarily the reason why I just don't care to use it that often. I've used it before. I've used it for a couple of commissions, actually. But that's one of the problems. It didn't bother the client. Did not bother them at all, as far as I know. They just think, oh, this was done on art paper. Look at that. Very cool. You can see some of the texture of the paper, It's just, it's something that bothers artists. So, but it's, I love talking about it because it's an interesting discussion to have. It's fun to talk about. I am just super excited, though, about the Portrait Prep drawing course and the series that goes along with it. I first released that in 2017, and there's a couple things that have changed, but the core of the program is the same. Some of the interaction and things that we can do as a group are certainly different because there's better tools now. And so I'm really excited about that. Really looking forward to some of the things we're going to be able to do as a group, and things that we're going to be able to do to interact with one another, things like that. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right. Well, we didn't get a lot done today on this, but I'm gonna go ahead and go for now. Stop this particular live stream. So made a little bit of progress. I can see a little bit of progress there, so that's good. And I hope you're enjoying this. So Linda's asking, what grit on the LuxArchival do you use most? I didn't make that very clear, apparently. Sorry about that, Linda. The LuxArchival only comes in one grit level. So it only comes in 400 grit level. So you don't get an option. It's only in that 400 grit level. And so I was thinking to myself, I never use 400 grit level when I'm on UArt. That's just way too much tooth. So I was thinking to myself, wow, that's just going to eat up my pencils. But I was wrong about that. Because when you start filling in the tooth of the paper, you don't have a whole lot of the pencil creating dust. There's not a whole lot of what people call fall off. It adheres to the paper really well, and you're able to then layer a lot. So you can use a lot of the same techniques that you do on paper. And so there's some benefits then with a fine quality paper like LuxArchival, where you've got a sanded paper that will actually hold the pigment and the material that you're applying to the surface. So that's some of the reasons why I love the paper. I do love it. I love it a lot. And the more I use it, the more I like it. Funny how that works, right? So anyway, yeah, I highly recommend it, and I would recommend anyone give it a shot. Try it and see what you think about it, because it's different from the UArt for sure, but there's a lot of great benefits that you have on the LuxArchival. All right, guys, fun discussion, and this is the kind of stuff that does happen over there in office hours, plus the live critiques. We usually do live critiques, at least one, sometimes three, or whatever. So, yeah, again, if you're part of the Sharpened Artist Academy, then I highly encourage you to become active in the office hours as well. It's a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop for now. If you're interested in joining the free Portrait Prep drawing course, go ahead and go on over there and enroll while enrollment is still open. And I'll talk to you guys again really soon. Until then, stay sharp. Bye-bye.